What's up, Scyushi Squad? We back in some more Trove, and we're in the home stretch now. Only 2 more classes to go, at least before we do Chloromancer again. Today we're going to be checking out the Fae Trickster in our 35k series. I've been able to get my character up to, well, 35k, a little close to 36k, but it's not quite there yet. I'm rocking full C4 gear. My stats are all right. I don't have everything absolutely perfect, most of all because I'm not a Fae main. So I'm just taking gear that works on my other characters and throwing it over to the Fae, which should end up having the same effect. Ultimately, it's not really going to end up being that big of a deal. Why am I not wearing wings? Let me actually put the red hot wings on just because why not? Using puck as well, just because I feel like the cooldown is going to end up helping our ult, which isn't going to make that much of a difference in terms of U10, but I don't know. I mean, basically what we're going to be doing in this series, if you'll indulge me to get my timer ready, is we're going to end up spending 5 minutes in the Geode Surface showing off just how powerful this character can be. Is it something that you can main up until the end game? And then we're going to end up going into the delves and hopefully seeing some surprising results, just because Fae Trickster is one of those characters that technically was one of the hardest hitting single target enemies or single target classes in the game. The problem is that there's very, very few instances that call for that. I mean, you could argue, well, shouldn't Fae Trickster be really good for boss killing? And it's, I don't know. It's not really the best just because of the survivability and everything else. And then the damage output and everything just didn't really end up adding up too much. But it's been a long time since I ended up testing out the Fae myself in the end game, so I'm sure we'll be pleasantly surprised. Chloromancer apparently is the big boss killer right now, and I'm trying to get these series done. Like, this is... Now that I actually am getting the Chloromancer done in the 35k series, it means that I'll be able to swap all of my gear from my Chloromancer, my strongest magic gear, over, or I'll be able to swap from the Fae to the Chloromancer and actually do some more videos and stuff highlighting the new rework to the character. Let me make sure I actually have Gonda, thank you very much. Before we get started with today too, I gotta let you guys know, if you're new to Trove, you can use that sign up link down in the description, and then anything you buy out of the cash shop, I'll make a percentage of that sale. It's an awesome way you can support me. Let's start the timer and get going. So this is gonna be a 5-star dungeon right here, which it seems like there's a bunch of people there, so we'll just kind of ignore that and go for this dungeon while everyone is distracted. So this will be a good test just to see how are we going to end up faring against normal enemies. 41 mil just on our base attack. Jeez Louise. I mean, the problem, see, this is where one of the problems with the Fae is because it's a ranged character, and ranged characters in Trove are just kind of like, the problem is that ranged attacks in Trove, like, the hit detection is astronomically bad in this game, and it kind of like it really makes it so that a lot of the ranged characters don't really end up doing too well with end-game dungeons and the like, just because of the fact that they don't really, like, they just don't keep up, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just weird. Anyways, how's our little baby thing going to end up doing? It's just gonna distract them. It's not gonna do... I thought it was supposed to explode. Maybe I'm mixing up the old classroom ability, I don't know. But either way, 41 mil per shot, that's a lot of damage, dude. Like, that's pretty good for just a base attack without popping a flash, without doing anything else, dude. Like, that's kind of the thing. Like, I'm actually very pleasantly surprised with that. That means, yeah, you most definitely could end up maining Fae. Gonna be better against single target enemies just because the hit detection is so crummy. But you see right there, we were able to 2-shot that guy. When we're dealing with normal enemies, it seems we can just end up using our bombs, because that is going to end up hitting all of the group of enemies. It is going to be a bit weaker at 30 mil instead of 41 mil. Wow, big deal, right? But I mean, you guys were always telling me how Fae Trickster can end up being super duper strong, and I never really doubted that. I never really said anything against the Fae Trickster. It's just, for me personally, I usually play characters that I think are cool, you know, because of their art direction or style or just their abilities or whatever. I don't like the Fae. Okay, I'm just gonna admit that. Like, I don't really find the character... Where are these bosses? I don't really find the character to be particularly fun or entertaining. I don't know. I mean, as far as just speed is concerned, like you can see, I do not have absolute perfect build. I should actually have attack speed, but I do not seem to. Yeah, I don't have nearly as much attack speed as I should. That means most of this gear might not end up working on my Chloromancer after all. But I like having the movement speed. You know, the attack speed doesn't matter as much in terms of just doing normal dungeons and stuff. Most of all, it's going to... I thought he was here. Most of all, it's going to end up being a big factor when you're in the delves. Because with the delves, you want to end up being as optimal as possible. And it seems that I've been spotted. Somebody's actually following me around, unfortunately, so I might have to ditch this guy, which, I mean, that's just kind of how it goes. Yeah, he's definitely following me because he's trying to stand next to me. Oh, great. Well, I left the world and I came back just to... Oh, well, it seemed to work. I didn't intend to come back to this same world is my point, but it seems like it ended up tricking him into leaving, so, hey, there you go. But yeah, if we end up, let's actually try out if we end up using our ult on a dungeon. Also, my God, have you guys noticed, like, Trove is getting to that point again where they need to clear the cache. Like, I don't know why they didn't do it with the Chloromancer update, or at least it doesn't seem like they did. I'm not saying that I understand, like, how Trove is or anything, but just based on my experience of playing this game for over 6 years, it seems like there definitely is some sort of a cache in the game. So it just kind of builds up and builds up and builds up, and the game just gets laggier and laggier and less playable over time until they end up fixing it, which it seems like they didn't fix it with the Chloromancer update, because Trove has been absolutely unplayable lately. It's actually a miracle that it's working so well right now, because whenever I've been trying to get some grinding done, just, you know, myself off camera, or if I've been trying to set up for a stream, I just have the game like this, all this rubber banding and crap. It's just been so bad that I just haven't really been able to have the opportunity to end up, you know, streaming for you guys and stuff. I mean, on top of that, I've also been very busy just with personal things. Basically, my brother and his fiance ended up buying a place, so we ended up helping them move all of their stuff out of their old place into their new place over the weekend. Anyways, I know that that's neither here nor there for a 35k series, but let's just go over here and do this one last dungeon using our ult like I said I would 2 seconds ago, because I'm really curious to see just how much damage that does. I'm sure it's going to do quite a bit, but yeah, it seems like you would be able to use the Fae Trickster for... I mean, I guess you could use it for Leviathans if you were strong enough. Probably still not as good as using some characters. Let's see, what does our ult end up doing? Is that 13 mil? It's terrible. Jesus. That's like a quarter of the damage that we do from our you know, from our bombs and stuff, dude. Like, that's so strange. Huh. Yeah, I mean, well, not a quarter. I don't know where I got that idea, but either way, can you main Fae Trickster? Do I keep saying Chloromancer? Good God, I keep mixing them up. Chloromancer, Fae Trickster, like, what are these names for these classes? Anyways, let me get a delve portal ready for you guys. This is probably not going to end up going too well. Okay, hopefully this works out. Yeah, now it's 127. So that's so weird, because you guys may have noticed in our last 35k video, we ended up doing the Draco, and I was at like 36k PR, and when I ended up opening up a private delve portal, the depth was actually like really weak, and I don't know why. Maybe the delve portals themselves don't factor in when you're over 35k power rank? Maybe it glitches it out. Otherwise, I have no idea what happened. But either way, 127. This should end up being a really good depth to test this out. It's gonna be tough. I mean, if we end up managing to get through this with the Fae Trickster, then I will be pleasantly surprised. Honestly, I'm expecting this to go really badly, especially because we just have to kill the enemies. I mean, oh, okay. Well, killing the enemies doesn't seem to be as bad as I thought it would be. I thought these enemies would end up being a lot tankier, but I guess we are doing quite a bit of damage. Now, again, you got to consider that if I ended up having proper, like, attack speed, 83 mil, what the heck is going on? These enemies have, like, really low resistance or something. We just did max damage. We just did max damage with just a basic shot. Like, are you kidding me? Man, Fae is way stronger than I thought it was. Jesus Christ. Like, I mean, I know that these enemies probably take more damage from magic characters, but that's pretty ridiculous. What about these ones? Are these ones resistant? No, they still just die right away. Wow. So yeah, the survivability obviously is going to end up being a bit of a factor, just because, you know, Fae Trickster doesn't really have that much, but we can always get them to aggro our right click ability from our class gem or whatever. Do I have my class gem? Yeah, I do. Okay, what is it? Ego Blast now requires an additional hit of damage to remove the bonus. Oh, right! They changed it so that our little pet thing, our right click doesn't explode. That was the old class gem ability. What happens now is Fae Trickster basically gets like a passive buff over time by not taking damage. I keep forgetting about that because, again, I don't main Trickster. But yeah, they just made it so that now it takes an additional hit before that ends up deactivating, let's say. Still, I'm so surprised at the fact that we're able to do... Can we do max damage with our bomb? No, we can't. We do 90 mil. Yikes, dude. Fae Trickster go burr, apparently. I mean, we could just have really, really good generation in this delve. Like, that's the thing about the delves, is it kind of just... It's bittersweet, because it's like, we could be doing really good in one area, and then we'll do really bad on the next floor, just because the enemy types that we generate are really, really bad. I don't know. But anyways, it doesn't really matter so much on the enemies. I just think that that's very surprising. The biggest thing that's going to end up, you know, we got to take into consideration is how are we going to end up handling the boss? Because that is pretty much the big reason why certain characters can't be mained in the delves, just because the boss itself is going to end up giving you so much trouble because they're going to be so resistant to taking damage. Let me actually see. So I got Unyielding Emblem, which should be fine. Let's pop our ult, use our... Okay, we're fine. We're absolutely fine. We're actually doing a lot more damage than I thought. I mean, we're using our flasks, but still, we're doing so much more damage than I thought. I don't think it's worth using our bombs. That's more so for clearing crowds of enemy. When you're fighting a single target enemy, it would definitely just be paying to use our left click ability, which in which case, like I said, I want to reiterate, I do not have attack speed on my gear. I mean, I might on like 1 or 2 pieces of gear, but I'm very surprised. I'm very pleasantly surprised at this. So yeah, you can definitely main Fae Trickster for either or, just because the damage output that you have and the survivability through the roof. Like, I like how I say 2 seconds ago that we don't have much survivability. What I mean when I say we don't have much survivability is we will usually end up just dying in like 1 hit or having all the enemies converge on us. But I guess that's not true just because we have our right click ability. I just kind of wasn't using it when we were in U10, and I wasn't using it when we were fighting most of those Delves enemies. So yeah, that's not bad. Fae Trickster is actually a lot better of a class than I thought it was. Wow. And that was Delve 127, and we didn't even break a sweat. Whew. Dang, dude. I'm honestly surprised. I'm shocked. I'm kind of flabbergasted because I'd always heard people talking about how Fae was a good character, but I didn't know it was that good. Like, I thought it was just denial. I'm joking, of course. Again, though, Fae Trickster's not my favorite character, so that's the main reason why I don't end up having much footage of it over on the channel. You know, I do quick tutorials on it and stuff like that, but I don't usually end up doing videos like this where we focus on like the Fae Trickster and everything about the Fae Trickster. Ultimately, though, yeah, you can definitely main the character. Not gonna be super duper fast when it comes to U10 farming. However, you'll compensate for the lack of movement speed by having lots of damage. But as you saw, the Fae Trickster is really, really good for single targets. So when you're fighting a 3-star boss, etc., you're not going to end up doing very good when you have to fight 20 enemies and stuff like that, outside of the fact that if you have a high enough damage output, your bomb is going to end up doing as much damage as you need to end up one-shotting most of those enemies, and that's actually very surprising to me. So yeah, you can definitely end up maining the Fae Trickster if you guys want. So anyways, hopefully you ended up enjoying today's video. Smash like, sub for more, buy the merch you want to support the channel. We've got Boomeranger next, and then now that I've got this video recorded, it means I can swap all my stuff over to Chloromancer, and I will probably have to try and build that character a little bit better. Movement speed, second stat. Okay, that kind of sucks. Yeah, that means I'm not going to be able to have max attack speed on the hat, but I don't know. I'll see what I can end up doing for the Chloromancer. We'll have to do a bunch of remake videos on the Chloromancer now that the rework is live, but I'm sorry that I didn't rush to the opportunity to show you guys Chloromancer at the end game. You'll be seeing that fairly soon, though. Should be seeing it this week. Anyways, thanks for coming out. Sound on. Stay epic, gamers.